Hi. So today I'm going to be reviewing Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 2. This one came out on Wednesday, last Wednesday, and I had been waiting for it for a while because in the last issue, at the end, Peter Parker came back. Or, supposedly he came back. And that's why I was so excited to see the second issue, because the first issue, the last few pages were devoted to Miles discovering Peter Parker, who was thought to be dead, in his apartment. And so the issue I have with this is, Peter Parker died. He did. And they killed him in the Ultimate Universe, and then they killed him in the Amazing Universe. And it just seems like they're playing with their fans. It's kind of disappointing, honestly, to play with the Amazing Spider-Man and then the Ultimate Spider-Man. Like, they killed the Ultimate Spider-Man, and he was supposed to stay dead. He was supposed to be gone forever, and that was the big thing about it. And then they killed Amazing, and he was dead for a little over a year, with Superior Spider-Man taking his place until he recently came back. And now they're kind of like piggybacking on that with the Ultimate Universe. So I guess I'll just start with the name. I wanted to start with the name of the comic, the Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man, because it just seems weird, because they could be bringing back Peter Parker, because the title, Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man, they could easily make another book entitled Peter Parker, the Ultimate Spider-Man. So, it makes sense. Peter could be coming back, and that's what I have. That's my big issue with this, is because Peter Parker could be coming back. And I'm a huge Peter Parker fan, but it was basically promised that he wouldn't be coming back. And I think his death would be completely meaningless if he turned out to be... Well, you know what? Let's get into the issue, and then we'll talk about that. So it begins with a giant explosion. The return of Norman Osborn. He's back at Oscorp. He sneaks into his lab. His own lab, and he discovers some octopus arms in there, and he finds some money and some Oz formula and whatnot. And then this was something I was waiting for, as the 2099 issue preview. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so Peter Parker is back. That's him. That is Peter Parker. He's older now. He's going to be about 18, probably. He was 16 or 17 when he died. And this is, I think, 2 years later. I haven't been following Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man. Honestly, I really don't like it. I'm a huge Peter Parker fan, so I don't read Miles Morales. But I picked up a few issues. I picked up the 200. I picked up the first issue of Miles Morales. And then I picked up the new first issue, and I bought those. I bought the first issue because I was interested in seeing what it was, where it was going to go. I wasn't very impressed, and I picked up the 200 issue because I wanted to see. It was basically a memorial to Peter Parker's death. It was remembering Peter Parker and his life. So yeah, I picked that one up. And then in the same day, I was in the store, and I saw the new Miles Morales comic, and I just flipped around through it. It was, he was going to tell his girlfriend that he was Spider-Man, and wasn't anything new, just until the last panel when I saw Peter Parker. So I bought it, and I read it a few times, and there's like subtle hints throughout the comic that Peter Parker could be coming back. They talk about Captain America dying and coming back, and again, the title of the comic, Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man. So I have a feeling that this isn't just a clone thing which, I mean, in the comic Miles Morales, he kind of freaks out. I'll try to find it here. He freaks out on this whole page, and he's just like, clone, 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 clone. He's like swinging away, and he's just like, it's got to be a clone. He tells his friend that it's got to be a clone, and it's an intricate story, and I'm kind of giving it all away right now. The ending, I mean, it's not a surprise, and honestly, it doesn't have enough Peter Parker in it to completely bring him back. They might just be hinting that he's coming back right now. But yeah, so that's the story. The story's pretty strong, I'd say. There are pretty heavy leads to a return of the Peter Parker Spider-Man, and I'm pretty happy about that. I mean, I've been reading Peter Parker for years now, probably 6 or 7 years. I've been reading Ultimate Spider-Man. I've been collecting them all and reading them. So for his return, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. The writing. We can talk about the writing a little bit, not just the story, but the actual writing. I feel like Bendis kind of has this character that he writes for Spider-Man, and I mean, yeah, I get it. The kid is Spider-Man, so he should be kind of like Spider-Man, but I mean, honestly, Miles Morales talks just like Peter Parker. He has that same, like, little kid kind of discovering what's going on and then figuring things out. It reminds me of Jesse Eisenberg from the Social Network, kind of, how he can't keep his mind on one track. He's constantly switching between like 4 different conversations in one conversation, and that's the feel that I get from Miles. And it's the same conversational like tidbits that I got from Peter Parker when Bendis was writing for Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe. He kind of has this 16-year-old mentality, and he's like every 16-year-old who's Spider-Man sounds exactly the same. So anyway, the writing's strong. It's just, I mean, it's kind of boring, honestly. If he gets stuck on something, he will be stuck on that for like 5 or 6 panels, and so that's going to be like, like 4 or 5 pages. I mean, he's stunned here to see Peter Parker back, and it's like, oh, he's stunned. And it's like, oh, he's saying something. Oh, he's stunned. It's like, oh, he's stunned. Oh, he's stunned. A whole page of Miles Morales just being like dumbfounded, and then the next page, oh, he's dumbfounded again, and then he freaks out. So I mean, I could do without. He kind of drags it on. I mean, we could have had some actual progress in the Peter Parker Miles Morales conversation there, and there was nothing. I mean, Miles was like, let me put that side by side for you. Pretty good. So yeah, I mean, we have the display of Miles' different powers, and then the same thing that happened in Spider-Man, how Peter Parker's like, what, you have powers I didn't have? You have a costume that's cooler than mine? Whatever. You get a pretty nice moment here where Peter Parker just, hits Miles Morales, and then Miles Morales wakes up later, and he's like, whoops, I just got beat up by Peter Parker, like completely knocked out. So yeah, I just kind of wish that the writing would be. It's kind of the problem with comic books these days, is the writing kind of goes nowhere fast, and I feel like that's a big marketing thing. It's like, let's take the story as slow as we can so we can sell as many books as we can. And as a fan, I would much rather buy the collections just because of that, like the collective, I'm blanking on the word. But yeah, just the thicker collection so that I can get through a few issues and actually get a good story out of them in one buy. But for something like this, I would definitely pick up the single issues just to have it. The return of Peter Parker. Or if it ends up being a clone, it ends up being a clone. Which there are a few other imitation Spider-Man running around right now. So it could be a Chameleon thing, a Mysterio thing, it could be anything. Mysterio was a big player. So yeah. Next, I would like to talk about the art, which is a big thing in comic books. I mean, the cover art's terrific. It's really good. I've been seeing this a lot with the Miles Morales books. It seems like they're devoting a lot of time to the covers, whereas in the startup of the Ultimate Spider-Man, it was kind of like a lot of CGI work, and it wasn't very impressive. It may have been, I mean, CGI, the old Beast Wars cartoon, you look at that now and it's like this is a vast wasteland of CGI desert. But it was really impressive in the 90s, and I don't know. I mean, I didn't read Ultimate Spider-Man in the 90s. I mean, they even pulled CGI into the animated cartoon. So, yeah, cover art's good. I'm really glad that Sarah Pichelli's not doing the art anymore. Because she was really cartoony, and she was really it was simplistic, complicated, simplistic. It was like she drew really simple faces and really simple stances and everything, but she tried to add a little bit of detail to every, I don't know, like a shirt or something, and it was really playful. It was really I don't know, cartoony, which is okay in a comic book. I don't like when it gets super real, like Alex Ross, but that was a little too cartoony. And right here, you get a really nice facial expression. You get some really nice detail. I mean, Miles Morales just got punched, and you can kind of see how his face is swelling up. And there's nice action. You got him swinging around too after that. I mean, he's climbing through the window. It's a nice action jumping segment there. The art's good. It's I mean, newer comic books are kind of hard to follow if you're just jumping into them. I mean, like this panel, you kind of get lost, especially with the dialogue here. It's like a man, he ends up talking to himself. Should I call the cops? Then who should I call? Nobody answers him. So it's, with a lot of panels like this, I mean, there's 10 to 15 panels on this page, and then there's also the big wash, of the characters jump kicking. Those are the clone, or I don't know, the other Spider-Man jump kicking a guard, and it's just, I don't know, when they do a lot of panels, it's kind of tough to follow the dialogue. And with this type of writing, where a lot of characters have throwaway lines that don't really matter and don't really progress the story, it's kind of confusing. But if you realize they are throwaway lines, then you're just like, oh well. And that's kind of what I did. I just kind of glossed over the security guards talking to each other because they don't really matter, not in this scene anyway. So yeah. And then at the ending we have him, classic Spider-Man talking to the guy who knows he's Spider-Man. They have a lot of I mean, most of the page here is just long conversation. And again, I mean, they're not really saying anything new. They're just Peter Parker's alive, or you can tell his aunt. I tried to tell her aunt. She wasn't there conveniently. I couldn't get a hold of his aunt. Did you tell anybody? I didn't tell anybody. Who are you going to tell? Nobody. I want to tell somebody, but I can't. It's a lot. I could kill the lady. I could, it's just a lot of back and forth that just, it's nice character development, but at the same time, I don't need to see, 4, 5, 6 pages of it. And they put the to be continued at the end. It's great, but they completely changed it to focus on Miles Morales talking to his girlfriend, and I just don't care. I mean, I'm reading this comic for that, the return of Peter Parker, and I couldn't care less what Miles says to this girl. I don't care who knows he's Spider-Man. I want to see more Peter Parker. So yeah, we have the next issue and whatnot. But preview there. And even these little facial expressions, they're pretty nice. I mean, they're not super detailed, but they're nice. And that's, you don't focus even on the foreground. We have a whole background there. The shine of the car is reflecting in the sunlight, matching the shine of her hair. We have some quality art here, and I'm appreciating that, because I don't think there's been quality art in a Spider-Man book, Ultimate Spider-Man book, since Mark Bagley. And I mean, we've been teased with returns of that with issue 200 and Death of Spider-Man. You know, it's a return of Mark Bagley. It's like a yearly thing now. Is Mark Bagley's like, oh, I guess I'll come back and we can sell a few more to the nerdy fans of Mark Bagley. So that's the review of Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 2. Good read. I'd recommend picking it up while it's on the shelves, because right now it isn't selling. I don't know. I haven't seen this advertised very much, like the return of Amazing Spider-Man. So that's another reason that I don't think that this is actually going to be the return of Peter Parker. Like, it's possible, but because it's just not a big thing right now. Maybe nobody cares about Ultimate Spider-Man, but I think they're just goofing with us. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed my review of Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man.